that if it weren't for Sharon, we might still just have that one cute and darling little first store in Dallas. Sharon and I don't have any children, but our stores and our employees have always been our babies. We feel as fierce about protecting our company and our 6,000 exceptional loyal employees as any parent whose family faces grave and immediate danger. It was an overcast morning when I packed up my fishing gear, kissed Sharon goodbye, and headed for my favorite trout stream on my friend Henry's ranch. We had a conference call scheduled that afternoon with our President and Chief Operating Officer, Melissa Reif, to make some tough decisions. Next to Sharon, Melissa's my closest confidant, a great friend and business associate for more than 30 years. It would be impossible to exaggerate how essential she has been to the company's success since she came aboard in 1995. Sharon and Melissa, in fact, are part of an interesting pattern I've noticed over the years. My most trusted advisors are women. In fact, 14 of the top 19 executive positions at the Container Store are held by women. And along those lines, almost 70% of our employee base is female. I hate making generalizations, but it's hard to talk about this without making what sounds like one. I'm very blessed with lots of male friends and colleagues whom I love, and I'm proud to have their friendship. But in my experience, women make much better executives than men. They communicate better and listen better, which I consider to be the two most crucial leadership qualities. Women also tend to be very good at collaboration and teamwork, which are extremely important at the Container Store. I would never dream of making a major decision without first having deep discussions with Sharon and Melissa, along with other executives, managers at our stores, and employees. In any event, on that gray morning in July of 2008, as the economy crumbled, I was faced with one of the most wrenching decisions of my life. To save the company, did we have to lay off employees? Payroll is usually one of the biggest expenses for any company, of course. And for most companies, terminating employees through systematic layoffs is the quickest and easiest way to offset a drop in corporate revenue. No wonder millions and millions of jobs vanished from the American economy in 2008 and 2009, creating an unemployment crisis. But the Container Store has always been different. We built our brand on the joyful conviction that our employees are a top priority, our most treasured asset. We offer pay, benefits, training, and creative freedom that most retailers wouldn't even dream of providing, and much more. But we also provide something more intangible and harder to quantify. We truly love our employees and are committed to caring for their whole being, not just as workers. They're all extraordinary folks. That's the only kind we hire, and we fully support their efforts to become the best people they possibly can be, both on the job and at home. I can't tell you how many times an employee has come up to me and said, "Working here has helped me become a much better person," or "Having this job has really helped my marriage." I get choked up at company events when a wife stands up with tears in her eyes and says, "The Container Store's made my husband a better father to our children. Thank you so much." Good Lord, where do you hear stuff like that in business, and how do you ever get used to hearing it? But here's the twist. Treating your employees with affection and respect is not only the right thing to do, it also happens to be the fastest road to success. In fact, it's much more successful than any other business methodology. We know this approach defies conventional business wisdom, most famously expressed by economist Milton Friedman. The only reason a corporation exists, Friedman said, is to maximize the return of the shareholder. Well, with all due respect to Friedman, we found that if you really and truly take better care of the employees than anybody else, instead of just myopically focusing on the shareholder, your employees will truly take better care of your customers. In short, if those two groups of people, your employees and your customers, are ecstatic, then wonderfully and ironically enough, your shareholders are going to be ecstatic as well. It's about creating a business where everyone associated with it thrives. Everyone. This is not just theory or wishful thinking. The numbers we've posted for the last 3 decades prove the point. Our adjusted EBITDA margins, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization, are consistently in double digits, and our compounded annual growth rate since inception is over 21%. That growth rate's even more remarkable when you consider that we haven't made a lot of acquisitions to boost revenue. We bounced back from the Great Recession with record sales each year since 2010, despite a still sluggish economy. We're now among the retail industry leaders in terms of new store growth. We've vanquished hundreds of copycat rivals over the years. In the 80s, there were hundreds of direct competitors, Susie's Containers, store this, store that. Back then, everyone from mom-and-pop stores to many of the biggest retailers